Alrighty, we're on the road. I'm spraying soybeans. So what I've got, and I'm sure y'all are gonna love this, I've got mites. I got mites, two spotted spider mites. Two spotted spider mites are a pain in my ass, but you know what? It is what it is. You got to deal with them, right? So this is what I'm doing. Glyphosate, because I've got some velvet leaf and some ragweed and some foxtail and some other weed that I've never seen before that I think came in on the seed, because I've never seen it before, as funny as that is. But I'm right here. My gizmo is right there. I'm going to try and connect it right now. It should catch up. I don't like doing that, but there it goes. We're connecting. My antenna, my GPS antenna is right there. So what I'm going to do is probably just... I've already sprayed this. Those beans are really nice. They're not the tallest beans in the world, but you know what? I've seen short beans produce phenomenal amounts of beans, grain. That's New Holland. I don't know what the hell they're up to. Those had to be, like, I don't know who that was, to be honest with you. Anyway, it says I'm connected, and yes, I am. So here we go. Probably on the right one still, which I know I am. Yes, I am. I used them all the same until I got to the back. But anyway, yeah, you can see where I mashed the poor things down. You can see where the aphids are, or not aphids, the mites are taking off and doing their nastiness, all in the wet spots. For some reason, this wet spring has been really good. All the low-lying wet spots are where the mites are really bad. Except for right there. There, the beans weren't very good. So anyway, that's the deal. I went and did this. I did the outside rounds on this field for mites a couple of weeks ago. Not that. Yeah. Let me see if I can get you guys up on a pedestal here. Maybe you can see what I'm gonna do. That's the problem with this. I don't have a magnetic base for this particular camera just yet. I can very easily make one. I just haven't gotten around to it. So let me just kind of do this, and then I'm gonna flip y'all around. You can maybe see around that corner. Let's do it this way, right? Yeah, you kind of can. Okay, so we're gonna raise you up, and then we're gonna swing them out. Right there. Okay, cool. There. And we're a pumping. Now we're gonna go. Whoop. Oh no. My poor camera. Restore it. The poor thing just got all whacked out. Yeah, dropped it. Don't do that with these cameras. You can't really do that with these cameras. For some reason I didn't have my sprayer on, but that's okay because I had no mites in that spot. Yeah, so you can see that these mites are just on the weak sides of this, and these beans are dragging on the front axle. I'm not really going very fast because I don't know why. I guess I should. I'm putting down 13 gallons to the acre. That gives me about approximately 80 acres. Yeah, approximately 80 acres of runtime with this tank. That's just the way that works. You can see the ragweed has come to fruition there, and there's a little bit there, and foxtail on the corner here. But those yellow spots are really what's getting me. Now, as I'm doing this, I'm going to talk a little bit, because that's just what we do. And nobody really wants to see my ugly mug anyway. But what I'm going to say is, we have been extraordinarily dry. You can see the leaves on these beans right here. They're a little bit of funny color. It's because we have been going through major drought. Now, these beans, I say major drought, it's not going to affect the beans as much as it's going to affect the corn. The thing that's going to affect the beans is this ragweed and these mites, thrips, aphids. Don't know if there's thrips or aphids on here. I didn't see any. Doesn't mean they're not here. But you see all that yellow foxtail and the giant foxtail, that's going to come up and that's going to ruin my day. So we don't want to ruin my day. We want these beans to thrive and produce as much as we possibly can, which if we get the rain that they're promising us, potentially we could end up with somewhere around 70 bushel beans and 80 bushel beans on the spots where the deer haven't wiped me out, maybe even higher. Would love to see them go higher. Don't know if we're gonna see them go higher, but I'd love to see that. These are 12-acre fields. There's 3 of them across the face and 1 of them across the back. This is not a bad deal. Now, we put down 2.5 tons of lime on this. A ton and a half this year, 2.5 year before last. They are in this ground is in pretty good condition. It responds really well to fertilizer. I did not put fertilizer on this year. I normally don't fertilize my soybeans. Some of y'all might say, oh, well, that's suicide. Well, it could very well be suicide, but it's not going to be my suicide. It's going to, oh, look at that. And that's what we deal with. These things, they live in here. They live in here, and when they do that, you end up with a reduced group of beans. Anyway, so to get back to the topic at hand is the dry weather. So we've been having extraordinarily dry weather for the last few weeks. The beans have been struggling, which is fine. Soybeans are like a bad relationship. Every once in a while, they like to be smacked around. You smack beans around a little bit, whether it's a chemical burn or nitrogen burn, if you decide to put liquid nitrogen out or anything like that. Spot of dry weather, aphids, mites, or thrips, and things like that. Beans take that in stride. You can really, actually, you can really get yourself a 3 to 5 bushel yield bump if you smack them around a little bit. I've seen guys take roller harrows out after the beans are 3-4 inches tall and just roll them. Bend them over, not destroy them in any way, but just bend them over, cause them a little bit of an ass ache to gain a 3 to 5 bushel yield advantage, which I don't know. I've never done that, but I do know that I burnt soybeans with fertilizer one time that was left in the bottom of the tank and ran out mid-stroke. It was a 20-acre field over. I sprayed it yesterday. That particular field I sprayed yesterday. And I'll tell you what, as dumb as it sounds, that half of the field, noticeable difference. A very noticeable difference. And I absolutely 100% hate running over soybeans, especially when they're this tall. Now these are supposed to be a low, bushy type of a soybean, which they are. They are loaded with pods, but they're also loaded with these damn mites and smartweed. I see smartweed, I see lamb's quarter. There's some velvet leaf, there's some ragweed, there's some mare's tail or horseweed. If you don't know what mare's tail is, it's horseweed. There's some volunteer corn, which isn't going to amount to anything. But now on to the weather report. The weather. What's the weather like? Oh, the weather's going to be an interesting one. The reason I say it's an interesting one is because we are going to be leaving the wet area in our summer in a day. Tomorrow night, we're supposed to start in with this hurricane that is cranking away down in Florida at a very slow rate. Obviously, it's going to pick up some speed, but our forecast for us right now is between 4 and 6 inches of rainfall. 4 and 6 inches of rainfall over the course of 3 to 4 days. Three days for sure, possibly a fourth, depending on the weather. What this hurricane does. Now, hurricanes. Actually, yeah, this is definitely a hurricane. It's not a himicane. Hurricanes are a little bit more tricky because they are named after women, and just like everybody that's been involved with a woman knows that women are unpredictable. Yes, they are. And to all my lovely female fans out there, I love y'all just the same. Thanks for watching. No, you know it as well as I do. Women are a finicky bitch. But anyway, not bitch, but you know, I'm burying myself now and I'm being comedic. I'm not being serious in any way because, you know, I just don't take me like I'm Donald Trump, okay? Just don't do it. I don't want to be treated that way because every single thing you say, that man says, is treated as though it's gospel. And, you know, well, whatever. We're not doing politics. Anyway, so you can see the damage that's here. And if we get these, just say 3 to 6 inches of rain over the course of 3 to 4 days, these beans will probably have it pretty well made. The weeds will slowly die in the next few days. The bugs are going to die by the end of today. I'm using a product called Battalion. I used Hero before, but for some reason they ran out of Hero and they said use Battalion. I'm using the Battalion. You can't see what I'm doing, but I'm really concentrating. And doesn't it make you sick to run over 3-foot soybeans? Makes me sick, I can tell you that right now. But yeah, we're just trying to get these weeds under control because just like the soybeans, when they get a drink of water, they're going to want to explode as well. Now, ragweed, if it breaks through the canopy, like these are, they're going to just take off and slowly envelop the soybeans, severely diminishing my yield, which I can't have. So I've got a pretty hefty dose of glyphosate in there, 1.5 quart of glyphosate, and along with the drift reducer Max Supreme, which is, you know, that takes the wax off of those plants and allows it to penetrate into there much quicker and prevents a drift, which we don't want for other. Yeah, we just don't want that. We want it to stay where we put it. That's the way it works. Because other than that, it's just you're wasting your time and money. Nobody wants to waste time and money. I've got the boom a little too low there. But for the mites, it probably won't make a damn bit of difference because this is just going to fumigate them damn things and they'll die anyway. They'll die. And we just want them all to die. We want them all to die. Oh my God. If you like running over soybeans, you're a special kind of sadistic. This actually makes me sick when I have to do this. But now horseweed or mare's tail, I don't have any Liberty in here, and I'm not using, I would have to use 2,4-D in this because these are Enlist 3 beans, or I would have to use Enlist. 2,4-D is illegal to use in these soybeans, but Enlist is not. So that's a really bad spot right there. Fortunately, I get to go over it, I do believe. Yeah, I'm gonna hit that right now. And I'm actually going to do this like this. Perfect, excellent. And I'm going to kill that side. I don't need to double whammy that anywhere. But I do need to be putting on as much as I can there to surprise the little bastards that I'm trying to kill. You know, everybody wants to kill these damn bugs. Everybody has these, by the way. If you see any yellowing in your beans this year, it's mites. It's mites. There's no other explanation for it other than it's mites. Get those mites under control. I got these beans here, then I got a little piece, and then another 12-acre piece in the back. And I'm hoping that I can do this without too much issue. And everybody that's around is going to be like, oh my God, why did that farmer run over his soybeans? Because he's a sadistic son of a bitch, that's why. Here we go. And I'm hoping I can get this boom in here where I want it, not where it wants to be. And boom, there we go. And we're off. Killing the township's grass. Now, same thing. Same thing all across, dry area. These are mildly wet. Wet spots always dry out first. So anyways, I've probably talked way too much right now, and I'm sure y'all are sick and tired of looking at soybeans and listening to me yammer on about hurricanes. 4 to 6 inches of rain. My corn needs it desperately, along with a lot of other farmers' corn that needs it desperately. It is my aunt just came up from Milford to Everettstown, or Mount Pleasant, not Everettstown, up near where Timmy Cornpicker is, and she said the corn up there, which I know who owns it, Gabe Sipos' corn, she said that is destitute. It's in bad shape. And I was like, well, I've got some corn up there that was in pretty bad shape, but it looks bad in the daytime. It's pollinating. We've gotten some rain on it the last couple of days, just a little, a few tenths here and a few tenths there. But it's kind of, in the daytime it looks like crap. In the nighttime it uncurls, and actually by morning it looks really, really good. So yeah, it's not ideal conditions, but if we get 4 inches of rain, that'll fill that ear. Especially up there, it's dry ground and it needs it really bad. I'm just worried about water shock. I don't know if I call it water shock. I don't know if anybody else does, but when you have really dry corn and really dry beans and you get a cold rain on them, which this is tropical rain, so it's probably not going to be nearly as cold as what it's not going to be nearly as cold as what you'd think it is. It just shocks it. It'll take them beans, they'll look like somebody sprayed 2,4-D on Banville beans, or dicamba beans. It just is not going to be a good mix there. And why in the hell is that like that? Okay, all right. Let me get those. I'm running over soybeans and they look pathetic. Oh my goodness. All right. Ready, and boom, and then there's boom. Looks like I was drunk, and I'm not, because I'm not a drinker. I hope you guys are enjoying this. I certainly am not. I do not enjoy running through soybeans like this. What I really would like to do, in all honesty, is be able to buy a self-propelled sprayer. And I think that our farm economy is about ready to tank, because I just think it is. I mean, it's on the cusp right now. And I know there's some people out there that will not talk about this because they don't want to, because maybe it doesn't affect them. There's some YouTube farmers out here that are not really they're not really talking about what's coming, and they're more apt to talk about mental health in farming, the farming community, and I'm all for mental health. I'm not gonna lie. There's been times where I feel like it's the end of the world and I get a little panicky. Okay, I don't like getting that panicky feeling. I'm not gonna go string a rope and hang myself. I can pretty much guarantee you that that's not going to happen. But I will say this. It's not fun to have that feeling. It just isn't. And if you're telling me that you've never had that feeling, then you live in La La Land. Farmers are the only group that really have the weight of the world on their shoulders. They really do. We do. And I'm not saying if you're a city slicker or anything like that your job is not important to you. But my job is more important to you than your job is to me. And a lot of people won't say it bluntly like that, but I'm going to. We contribute to feeding the world. We have come to a society, and in a system of this society is dependent upon others to make sure that they're doing okay with their nutritional needs. Farmers get blamed for a lot more than what they deserve to be blamed for. That's a fact. When I'm out here spraying this crop, I get looks from people. I get I get comments on my channel. I do not generally show spraying videos because all the stupids come out of the woodwork that we're poisoning the world. And yes, do I like doing it this way? No, not really. But it's what it takes to bring home the bacon, per se. Now, I also know that the price of wheat today is the same price that wheat was in 1930. Same price as what wheat was in 1930, right? Wheat yields have not gone up that high. It was a whole lot cheaper back in the day, back in 1930, to produce a bushel of wheat than it is today. Farmers didn't do as much wheat as what they do today. Each farmer, I should say. But the same price, maybe the average yield across the country, I will give it a 50 bushel average yield across the entire country, right? That's what it would be. For $4.80, right? Let's just say $4.80 right now. I do believe that's what wheat is selling for right now. Last year I sold my wheat for $4.84. Wish I'd have sold it at harvest, but I didn't do it, and it cost me about $1.50. But whatever, I sold it for $4.84. It's about what it was in 1930, right there, the same price. I got 61 bushels to the acre. That's what my yield was. I thought I did quite well. I really did. I thought I did quite well with the yield, not with the price. So when you've got a price that's 1930 pricing with modern expenses like herbicides, insecticides, just say pesticides in general, fertilizers, equipment. Yes, equipment was expensive back in the 30s, I'm not gonna lie, but there was also a lot of horses and stuff being utilized. But a loaf of bread way back in 1930 was pennies, not dollars. I do believe a loaf of bread was 25 cents for a loaf of bread back in 1930. Now, maybe by 1935, during the middle of the Great Depression, it was more, maybe it was less, I don't know. But I can tell you this, the price of wheat did drop, and there were blights and other things that affected the wheat back then that we have controls for now. So while you're eating that loaf of bread, that roll, that costs you $7 for a loaf of whole wheat bread, and there is approximately a pound of wheat in a £1.50 loaf of bread. So that same bushel of wheat that was just a few dollars to the farmer, was less than $50 to in the sale price to the consumer for that, well, that loaf of bread or that bushel of wheat, then is now over $220 for that loaf of bread, for that bushel of wheat. That's it. That's how that works. So somebody's probably right now looking at the math of what I just said and saying, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong, which I might be wrong, but it ain't by much. Tractors didn't cost $300, $400, $500, $600,000. And there was a lot more farmers back then producing this product, or this crop, which is great. But today, one farmer does what 100 farmers did, you know, just 100 years ago. One farmer does what 100 farmers did 100 years ago. Let's do it that way. And those people, those farmers, the profit margin is so thin, and I mean thin, narrow, thin, like impossible if you have a bad year. Crop insurance doesn't pay what everybody thinks it does, doesn't pay what it should, I can tell you that. And, you know, the bank, he don't give a fuck if your crop failed or not. He wants his money. This economy is waning. If you think it's not, you're delusional. And yeah, that's it. Farmers feel it first. FFF. Farmers feel it first. FFIF. Fifth. Yeah, farmers feel it first. And if the farmers are complaining that you're not going to make any money, and the Wall Street's doing wonderfully, kind of like it did back in the 20s, 29, yeah, you might be in for some trouble, which is fine. I don't care. I'll survive. I know I'm a survivor. That's how I know I'm going to survive. I don't know how I'm going to survive, but I'm going to survive. And apparently I sprayed the lawn the last time. I don't know how I did that, but I did. Let's say I not do that again. Oh, I know how I did that. The valve didn't shut off for me. I don't want to do that again, but let's see. We're going to do it this way so we don't kill the grass again. And ready, boom. We're off. Okay, these tiny little fields are a pain in the ass. The nice thing is I don't have to go down and back. And then I got that field over there, which I'm gonna have to fold up for, which I really didn't want to fold up because my boom has a hydraulic leak and I got another cylinder I gotta put on. And this is pretty raw, unedited video. I'm just gonna post it like this. Yeah, so anyway, I see the stock market starting to do some flim-flam floundering. And you know what that's about, right? If you don't know, you should be saying Joe Biden. You should be saying Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, not Donald Trump. Of course, they're going to blame Donald Trump some way or another because they don't care. Democrats don't give a shit. If it ain't their guy, it ain't good. So here's the deal. Joe Biden quit. He just quit. He was forced out. If you don't believe that, you're delusional as well, but he was forced out. He quit. Kamala's the next best choice. She's a terrible vice president. She didn't do the 1 or 2 jobs that she was given. She failed miserably, and now she's the hero of the Democrat Party. A vice president that could not get couldn't get a vote, right? So I'm gonna do this, and hopefully I get that thing before that thing completely fails out on me, which it did. Oh my God. There we go. Oh, ain't gonna go. Okay, but that sucker's pissing like a racehorse. Ah.